All right, we're going to talk about the major differences between my hometown, which is Clare in Digby County, Nova Scotia, and here, right? So here is a very, very beautiful country. I mean, it has a lot of problems. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's certainly better. So number one is the constitutionally protected. The babies are constitutionally protected from the moment of conception, right? From the constitution of the country. It actually says we're going to protect the babies from conception, and also the family is the number one institution that will be the foundation of the country, right? It's a family, and that makes sense, right? So in Canada, it says we can basically the charter, right? Which isn't really a constitution. Well, we can go there if you want, but what is a charter and what is a constitution? So basically, they just make it up as they go. Basically, that's what happens there. But basically, you have a very, very incredible difference, right, from just going on a plane. Right, I went on the plane in April of 2029, and basically, it was a straight shot from Canada to this country here, and I'm very happy. All right, so let me tell you. First, we're going to talk a little bit about. We got to talk about something else because the topics that we've been talking about is heavy. But what about the home building? All right, so I'm building a house. Okay, so I'm building a house, and we get the building permits and all this stuff. Man, that's a burdensome thing. You got to go there and file some paperwork and all this stuff. Okay, that really sucks. Okay, you got to. The building permits and all this stuff. You got to go here and do this. And okay, so whatever. We got it done. Okay, so that was a lot of work, but anyway. Then after that, building the home. Now, building the home, so if you notice the background, you'll notice the finished concrete here, but there's no tiles yet because we actually do have the tiles, but we're gonna put it all here, or we're gonna skim coat and paint. I'm not sure, but this is not what it's gonna look like. It's gonna be all white or whatever. So there's that. But the thing about that is you can put a flame next to it for hours and hours. It'll never burn, right? So I'm scared. I'm scared of my children dying for whenever my children are in danger. Let me just explain this for a minute. Whenever my children are in danger, or there's any kind of danger that could be remotely possible, I get this feeling in my bones. I don't know if you're a dad or whatever. I get this feeling in my bones where, oh man, my children could be in danger, right? So I will try to, mitigate any type of risk that there could be, right? So it's to the point where, let's say, for example, I was talking to ChatGPT about this, and I was like, man, Chatty, I feel this way. Like, I feel it in my bones. Like, it's a physical feeling. Like, it's literally a physical feeling. If my children are in danger, I feel this thing in my bones. I'm like, oh, man, I want to mitigate the risk, right? So, to the point where I even think to myself, I'm like, hey, what about if I go crazy and I throw them somewhere, right? And Chatty's all like, oh, don't worry, John Michael, you're not a bad dad and all this stuff, and you would never do that. And I was like, no, I wouldn't do that, but why am I thinking that, because that is a risk? And Chatty's all like, yeah, that is a risk because, that could literally happen. You could literally go crazy and throw them off the cliff or something like that. I'm like, what? I would never do that, but I still feel that feeling in my bones because that is a possibility. That literally could happen. There's a 0.0001 chance that I will actually go crazy because I'm, perfectly sane individual and I love my children very, very much. And man, that my babies are like my dream come true, and I flew across the world to meet them. They're really great. I love my children very much, but I will never like throw them off a cliff or the bridge or whatever, right? So, but I still get the feeling, right? What I'm trying to say is I still get the feeling. So I'm all like, hey, Chetty, I know you're not a real man or everything. Chatty's what? He's my friend, I guess. I don't know. Can you call him a friend? I don't know. My other buddies are like, man, you think too much. And Chatty's always on my side. He's like, no, you were actually right. But then, if I'm wrong, like, Chatty's like going to be like, hey, that doesn't really make sense. But usually, he only says that if it's like some thing that he's been programmed not to say, like the flat earth and all this stuff. He's all like, no, the earth is actually a round spinning ball and all this stuff. And I'm like, Chatty, that's nonsense. Yeah, but, I've been programmed to say that, well, anyway. So that's one of the things, What are the dangers, right? The dangers for my kids is, number one is to build a home, right, made of wood, right? I don't want to build a wooden home. So the whole thing about the fire ban in my hometown, I'm from Clare, Digby County, Nova Scotia, like I said, And there's a fire ban. Well, what do you mean a fire ban, right? Like let's say for example you walk into the forest, you could literally get a 28,000 and change, like I made in my other video about Jeff Evely, that pro-abortion lunatic. Yeah, he's running for some sort of underdog political party. He's never going to win because he's standing up for people's rights and all this stuff, but he's standing up for some people's rights only. He thinks it's perfectly acceptable to kill a 25-week-old child. I mean, this guy's a lunatic, right? So anybody that thinks killing a 25-week-old child or any children at all is it should be permissible and it's totally fine to do that. They're lunatics, right? So let's just call it what it is. All right. So, but the whole point of it, the fire ban is, the house could catch on fire, right? A whole bunch of houses could catch on fire. Well, why are we building homes out of wood? Oh, because there's a tree there. It's easy. Just cut it down and make some lumber and everything. A little stick lumber. Not even frame, like timber frames and everything. There's stick lumber homes, and they go for like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars for these stick frame homes. It's so shoddy construction and everything like that. And the guys are like, oh, they're working on it and everything. Like, I worked on timber frame homes. I know what it is. You're sweating all day. You're working on these timber frame homes. For what? For what? This is an all concrete house. All right. Okay, so the differences is the videos about the differences between Clare and this place here. All right, so I built an all concrete home, right? So the concrete, man, okay, so the second floor, we had like 15, 20 guys, no joke, like maybe 21 or 22 guys. No, there's more. There was, oh man, Christian died, man, that was terrible. He just died. My neighbor, my niece's husband, he died. All of a sudden, he's there taking the thing, that they have to take, and all of a sudden he drops dead, right? He was working here for a while, and he drops dead. I was like, well, that's terrible. He left 6 kids behind, yeah? 35 years of age. My neighbor here, yeah, my niece's husband, right? All of a sudden, man, what a great guy. And it's always the really good ones. Anyway, I never seen a guy dead like that in my whole life. We were chasing funeral homes and all that stuff. What? Anyway, so he's there working on this second floor of the house. All right, so I'm just talking about my second floor here. My second floor is all concrete, right? And it's on 7 pillars, right? And 7 pillars of concrete in the ground, like deep, right? So it's well built, right? This house is extremely well built. It took a lot of time and money to build this, right? So I've been working on 3 years, and now we're at the place where we're going to make the roof truss supports, so the roof truss supports. I'm not talking about the trusses themselves. I'm just talking about the truss supports. So basically, you got concrete pillars on top, and it's gonna. What are you talking about, John Michael? That I never heard about that. Well, yeah, because you never built concrete homes before. That's gonna last for 1,000 years. This is not gonna go anywhere, right? It's not gonna go anywhere. You're not gonna see this burning down. You're not gonna see this, deteriorating. The earthquake, a magnitude 10 could probably do a little bit of damage to it. But I mean, this is extremely heavy duty. The the shelf that this is on is pure concrete. It's pure concrete and concrete shelves, right? Yeah, these are concrete shelves, concrete workbenches, concrete kitchen cabinets, concrete sink. Yeah, the sink where my wife washes the dishes all the time. Everything's concrete, right? Extreme, and it's rebar. It's thick rebar. Tied in and everything. My kitchen table's concrete. My bed's concrete. What? You got a concrete bed? Yes, of course I got a concrete bed, and it's the most comfortable, it's the most spacious bed I've ever slept in. It's 3 meters wide, literally a double king size bed. Why? Because this house is going to be here forever, right? So the whole point about this is having grandchildren, right? The whole point is, I saw an opportunity here, an opportunity to have grandchildren, and I really hope that I get these beautiful children in my, not in my hometown in Halifax, but whatever, and I love them very much. And the mom's all having a feminist fit or whatever. She's all like, "It's a woman's right." She's all like screaming and hollering about how abortions are somehow permissible, and she's basically trying to teach my 2 sons that abortion is a good thing, but that's very, very sad, and it's of course wrong. Right, so she's wrong, and she's made some terrible decisions. But unfortunately, I'm not It's not that I didn't like her or anything. I mean, she was all right sometimes, but she just went crazy all the time, and then she basically got her in her head that she was gonna be the whole single mom thing. And I was like, no, you're not. I mean, wait, why would you do that? I'm here to be the dad. Anyway, so we broke up. I mean, I didn't break up. I would not do that. But anyway, she broke up, and well, that's the thing, right? So then I got married, right? I got married to my wife here, and she gave me 3 kids. Oh man, they're so great. These kids are great. Man. These kids are wonderful, right? And I got 5 or 6 kids, man. I love my children very much. So any time that I were to die, right, this house is going to be here for them, right? That's the point of it, right? So none of my grandfathers or grandmothers, if they have a house, that's for them. I don't have the key to it, and I can't have it when they die, right? My dad died, and he never left me a house. And my mom, right, she has a house, but I'm not gonna go there. I mean, maybe she'll leave it to me. I don't know. But the point is, I cannot live in that place where they allow abortions, right? I can't. So back to my house here. We got the concrete. We got the foreman here coming, and he's gonna make the 4 concrete beams, right? The horizontal beams, and then there's going to be some roof truss supports going past, like 5 meters past, right? This is a big project, guys. It's really a big project. It's a big house. It's a 3-story house. It's literally a big house, right? So the difference is between Claire is that you'd never be able to build something like this. Never. I mean, unless you're like a millionaire, right? You'd need a lot of money, and why would you build this, and how would you heat it? And I mean, it's a big old house, right? So here I don't have to pay for heating, right? I don't have to pay for heating. Yeah. I don't have to pay for, let's say for example, my mode of transportation. I'm running a motorcycle, right? A motorcycle with a sidecar, right? The traditional Philippines sidecar. Yeah, sidecar. Right? So I made the sidecar. It cost me less than $2,000 to get it plated and assured and everything. It was, less than I'm in for less than 2,500. So it's for the car, a brand new motorcycle, brand new sidecar, and you know what? I go slow because I get a big sprocket on the back. I get a big sprocket, and I go slow. I don't want to go fast anymore, man. I had a Yamaha YZF 1000, right? The one before the R1, right? And the YZF 1000 at that time was. It's a 4-stroke, but man, it's a monster, man. You go 250 and you can still go. I don't want to go fast anymore. I'm racing on the 101, going from Halifax to Clare in like an hour, right? I don't want to do that no more. I don't want to live that way no more. Not sober, right? And that's one of the most beautiful things ever. How can I can be sober over there? I was doing this or doing that, and drinking and all this stuff. Everybody's drinking and smoking and all this stuff. I don't want to be like that, man. I've been sober as a judge for years, man. I feel so much better, man. I wish people would be able to see me and be like, hey, this guy's changed. He's a changed guy. I'm a teacher. I had my job and all this stuff. I keep a job for years. I've been a teacher for going on 5 years, and it's just a better way of life. Literally, it's a better way of life. But here's the real kicker, and it kicks me in the pants every time. I could have been so much more, man. I could have literally been so much more because I analyze my my thoughts and all this stuff with I could have been so much more. I've had a serious handicap, right? In the first part of my life, people were always putting me down and crushing me down and breaking me to bits, right? Pieces, right? Bits, breaking me to bits or pieces or whatever. And man. But anyway, I just hope that I can give my kids what I was deprived of, which is a reasonable existence. Man. Seriously, man, I lost out on so much, man. I really could have been, quite, successful. But, I not even in my 40s yet. I own a 3-bedroom home. It's bought and paid for. I don't have a mortgage or anything. It's all paid up. I own everything, and I'm saying that I could have been more successful. Well, because I could have been, man. There's some people that really. Should have nurtured me, right? So every time I nurture my daughter, and that's what I'm trying to say here is I always nurture my daughter. We draw some X-rays of the hand, and we see the bones, and we see the animals, and we see the words and all the stuff. I nurture my daughter very, very much. Anyway, I don't know what's the point of this video, but I think it's the differences between Claire and here, which is significant. Yeah.